Watching the timer. Who's the watch guy?
It's 7 o'clock. He's got to go at 8.
Okay. Boom.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Sammer, along with my co-host Stank and Papi Latte, and you're watching the Loose Cannons live. Live Loose Cannons. You can call this an emergency podcast if you want. Presented by Red Cat Plumbing and Air, a Tampa-based company who takes pride in their reputation for timely service, professional results, and exceeding your expectations. They truly define hashtag Tampa Proud. We are joined tonight by the awesome and usually pretty cool Jake Arians. Jake, welcome to the show.
Did you notice the usual?
Because I feel like he's not gonna.
Now I'm down to usually pretty cool.
I think
that was not Papi's or Stank's. Hold on,
we heard who said that. Usually cool.
Because I think he's gonna school us tonight. That's why he's not
First of all, before we get into anything else, why didn't you send the makeup team to my house, bro? This shit is looking all kind of like.
I fucking love it.
I'm being dead. You look good. Like,
Thanks,
that
man.
shit looks like it's magazine worthy.
Thank you.
There ain't a pimple. There ain't a pore in that face.
Well,
He has
All
no
painted
pores.
on tight.
what this
Samrofi
is,
has no
Jake,
pores.
is that I've told you multiple times. I take a crude oil bath at least 3 times a week. That's what it is. There's nowhere for
Look at
pores
your
to.
skin. Can we blow this up?
No.
I want editing when this is done. I want there's not a pore in this face.
There was no pores.
There's no
You
pores.
went to see Papi. You got the shit painted in a badass fade. I mean, it's looking tight. I mean, you guys look good too, but my boy, this is professional as it gets right here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do it for you,
Send them to
bro.
my crib. I just got off a plane. I'm like putting some shit under my eyes so I don't look too jet lagged for you.
Oh no. I don't know what to tell you, man. You didn't tell me you needed makeup work.
Now you don't even know what to say. I threw the whole show for a loop for live, and you're like, oh,
I've never
dang,
had
that's where I thought
nonstop.
we were going with
I'm
this.
just very humble. I sent you the shirt. I'm so humble. It's not in me to take compliments. It's not. It's very odd.
I see what's going on, Jake. Jake, that strategist, he went right at Sammer. You look good, boy.
He's not. He's softened me.
I told you he went with the
that
B
shit is
rabbit.
Everything.
You went B rabbit on him, bro. You flipped it on him. He has nothing to say now. Stank, kick
I
it
got
off,
stuff
bro.
to say.
That's right.
I got stuff to say.
Oh, you want me to kick it off?
Kick it off.
Arians. Dan Orlovsky said that
Oh God. Oh, God.
Go ahead.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo and Dan Orlovsky said, what's your response? That your father is ruining Tom Brady. Go.
He didn't say he's ruining Tom Brady. He said he's wasting Tom Brady. So let's get that right.
Wasting, ruining,
That's so
spoiling.
It's very different.
Last time I checked, if you break it all down, and we're not just doing this for clicks. By the way, ESPN's broke, and that's how Dan Orlovsky type people are actually employed these days. Okay.
Makes sense.
Go back to NFL Live when it was a decent show a couple years ago before they had to lay off 500 people and they were making money. I don't give two shits what Dan Orlovsky has to say. Tony Romo, I respect.
Okay.
But Tony's a former quarterback. You're going to have the quarterback's back over a coach that you never played for. Simple stuff. Last time I checked, if we break this season down, it's going to be a career year for Tom Brady on almost every level. And maybe even picks. He might throw a couple more picks than he's thrown in the past. But if you're talking about 20 years in one system, now you're playing for a new one, there's going to be some mistakes. But by the way, before this season started, remember all the questions, guys, about Vinny Testaverde was the only guy at 43 years old to play in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Tom's going to throw for 4,500 yards at 43 years old and potentially 40 touchdowns and break the Bucs franchise record. If that's ruining a quarterback, they probably need to get a new take. I understand ESPN is in Bristol. It's in Patriot land, and that Tom Brady moves the needle, which he does. He's the freaking GOAT. He is the GOAT. He's played phenomenal at times. He hasn't played phenomenal at times. Last time I checked, that's everybody on the team. That's everybody in the league. Didn't we kick the shit out of Aaron Rodgers?
Mm-hmm.
You guys watch, right? I mean, is Aaron Rodgers the top 5 consensus on everybody's board of the greatest of all time?
Yep.
But by the way, there's the best of all time and the greatest of all time. Two very, very different conversations, right? But this is the craziest year in the NFL I can ever remember, where the Bucs smoked the freaking the Packers, and the Bucs lose to the Bears, and the Raiders beat the Chiefs, and then the Packers beat the Bears by 40. Like, it's the craziest year I can remember. But if that's their take, it's only to move. Here's the other thing, guys. You guys run a show now, right? This is a digital podcast, digital show, and you are clamoring for clicks and impressions, correct? Because the more you get, the more you can take the sponsors, the more you can sell the show, the more people you want to watch the show and listen to what you have to say, correct?
Mm-hmm.
ESPN on those levels are fighting for digital clicks. So everything they say right now is to move the needle and to move the click. You need to be, as an audience, I'm talking to everybody out there, very cognizant of what you click on because you're paying them. If they have an impression from you, if you watch an entire video, they go sell that to a sponsor. So you could take a grain of salt with some of it. Some of what Dan says I like about a lot of games. I like some of his takes on the Bucs. The personal attacks are getting a little bit ridiculous. Ninkovich and some of this stuff. And Tony Romo, I love. Tony does a phenomenal job on TV. He didn't really seem prepared to do that game because all he wanted to talk about was I'm gonna back up Tom Brady and back this offense, and I'm gonna talk about how great Patrick Mahomes is. By the way, Patrick Mahomes is alive.
He's stupid. He was worth the
I
price.
think quarterback, like lover of quarterbacks and the game of he's on a different level than I've ever seen anybody play. It's unbelievable. I'm so glad I got to watch that live. It was a fun game to watch. But I mean, I just went on a whole rant. But there, I mean, to your point, that's my point with those guys. I don't give two shits what any of them have to say. It's that people listen to it and take it as fact. When you're going to put it on Get Up in the morning with millions of viewers. By the way, Michael Server just went on a 3-minute rant on NFL Network, but it's on NFL Network at 3 o'clock Pacific Mountain. 100,000 people are watching, not 20 million people are watching Get Up or whatever it is on ESPN about what's really going on in Tampa.
Jake, a lot of what we saw yesterday reminded me a bit of that Chargers game where the team kind of started slow. It seemed like they couldn't get out of their own way. They even benefited from a similar play where the Chargers kind of gaffed at the end of the first half, gave us the ball back when they could have scored again. Chiefs, end up not scoring on that fumble by the Shaq Barrett sack. Why is this team starting so slowly and we just see them so stagnant, or like it seems like they're just not ready from the start of the game, and it takes them until the second quarter, even up until like coming out of halftime, to make an adjustment as a coaching staff and then also wake up as a team? Like, is it execution, coaching? Is it both? What is the problem?
It's so easy to immediately go, they're making coaching adjustments at halftime, when a lot of times it's just the players executing what they went over all week in a better fashion. Or they say, okay, what we saw on tape, we got this. We're going to make this slight adjustment with, say, Antoine Winfield Jr. was playing deep in the middle early, and then they started moving him around a little bit more and giving them different looks. Okay, so we're going to adjust one little thing, and that's going to take away what they did. By the way, Tyreek Hill just made some unbelievable plays. Carlton is a man-to-man guy. I love that we came out in man and said, screw it, we're going to challenge them, and we're going to go, and we just got beat over the top a couple times big. We held them under their season total. How many times has Patrick Mahomes been held under 30 points in his career?
Twice?
That was the fourth.
Oh, okay. I was guessing way less than that.
And on what you said with Carlton, Stank was observed. We were at the game together. He was in position. I mean, there was one, the out and up, where that he got burned there, but the other ones, he was literally right there. The one in the south end zone, he got his head around, and it was just a perfect fucking ball.
It was perfect coverage. He got his head around. It was a perfect throw, and it was a perfect catch. I mean, and Tyreek Hill's the fastest dude in the league. Like, it's just, that's part of why the Chiefs are so good. Patrick Mahomes can keep backpedaling even when you get pressure. He keeps backpedaling and throws the ball 20 yards down the field off his back. There's not another dude in the league that can do that. Aaron Rodgers kind of, but not the same level. I thought our defense did a phenomenal job in the second half. And to answer your question, why we came out slow, I'm not real sure. Tom, I mean, we had a bunch of manageable third downs that we didn't hit in the first half, or it's a very different game. And we come out the second half, and I've seen all the takes on the play calling. I didn't love the play calling on the first and goal from the 5. Well, you kick a field goal there instead of scoring a touchdown. You throw 2 interceptions inside the 25. One hits a guy's helmet, flies up in there. You know Tyrann Mathieu's going to pick that off every time. That's just a fluke thing. I would have rather seen him run the ball after we hit the big play to Chris Godwin. We took another shot to go for the throat. I don't hate it, but it's just kind of how the game went. I don't know that they really started that slow. It was another one of those things where you're just like you're behind the 8 ball quick because Tyreek Hill got loose. He had 200 yards in the first quarter.
Jake,
by the way,
I know it's a bigger question than just this game, Sam. I don't want to minimize what you were asking, because it definitely feels like there has been a slower start to things and then they get going.
Yeah,
I mean, one thing I've said about this team that
if he catches that, if Mike Evans makes that catch, it's a substantially different start to the game, right? It's a perfect throw. It should be a touchdown, or at least it's right there in scoring position. So I get that aspect of it, and at times though it still feels like I'm not a coach. I'm not in the NFL locker room. I've heard a lot that those type of halftime adjustments, that's not a thing that really happens all that often. Like you said, little things happen. But why is it that we start the game in cover one, we have one deep safety, which is fine. You're basically saying beat us. And if you can, great. But why is it that we wait until Tyreek's gotten to 200 yards before we finally switched over to cover two, which kind of brackets them a little bit and forces other guys to make plays outside of Kelsey and Tyreek? And again, like you said, I don't really care too much about what Orlovsky says, but Romo was breaking down things at a phenomenal level yesterday. And I take what he says way deeper.
Because I tell you guys all the time, unless you're talking to the coaching staff about what they were specifically trying to do on that play, you're guessing. It's speculation. Tony was speculating, and it's a very educated guess, okay, on what he was breaking down. But he didn't talk to Todd Bowles all week. He was in a production meeting for 5 minutes, right? COVID, he's on a Zoom call, and I'm pretty sure he was probably on the beach with his kids. Who knows? Like, it's speculation because you don't know what Todd had told Antoine Winfield Jr. Who actually busted on that? Was the safety supposed to roll to the top? Was the safety supposed to be on the far hash with Tyreek Hill on the far outside and Carlton's literally on an island by himself? That stuff's so easy to say. Why didn't we switch? Cover one, cover three can be exactly the same. You just don't know what the safety's doing. Are you playing safety high and it's really too deep man under? Or is it straight cover one? Or is it cover zero and the safety's coming, you're throwing a blitz? There's so many different things to go with that to say, okay, why didn't we do this earlier? Because you don't really know. Guys can speculate when you watch film. Any of us can do it and say, well, this is easy. That's why it's so much easier for these guys to say, I'm going to break down the film and tell you what happened. Not many of them are doing it beforehand and calling the plays, right? Mm-hmm. Last time I checked, Dan Orlovsky is one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen in 20 years with one of the worst plays in NFL history.
He stepped out of bounds.
Exactly. And he's now an expert on what everybody in the world is going to take on what offenses are. Get out of here.
I'm going to let you get your question.
Like I said, I like Dan. I love Dan's breakdowns. Like, I love what he does. But it's speculation from his point of view. That's the problem I have with this, the way the ESPN and these people put this stuff out. They take it as fact without Dan Orlovsky having any access. Because I promise you right now, he has no access to our coaching staff and what they're actually trying to get accomplished. Tom's not putting stuff out. Tom picks the plays. What Michael Silver said earlier today was every play they put in, Tom picks, and they called plays that Tom picks on Thursday. My dad's done that since 2000 with Tim Couch in Cleveland. Quarterbacks come in on Thursday or Friday, and they check off the ones they don't like. They circle all the ones they want. That goes into the game plan. That's the majority of what's called. There's just a little bit of a disconnect still, and they're getting better, but it's going to take some time. And that's part of why I think some of the slow starts are there as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to clarify that. Like, that's another quote I heard today, that Tom's the one that picking the plays, and I even heard them, I don't know if they've twisted it because I didn't hear the interview that said Tom's the one calling the plays, which
Tom's not calling the plays.
Yeah, okay, I didn't
Tom
think
and Byron are talking about this play that I like that we talked about on Thursday. So they'll put a game plan in, right? We'll walk through the week. They practice the game plan Wednesday. They practice the game plan Thursday. Whether he picks the plays Thursday night or he does it after Friday's practice, he's going to go in and check off everyone he doesn't like. I didn't like it in practice. I didn't feel comfortable. This safety's scaring me. This linebacker is going to come here. We're expecting this coverage when we call this play, right? Then they take all that. They put it in the game plan. They script it. And by the way, all these defenses we're playing are trying to give a different coverage and a different look than they've given the week before because Tom's in a new offense. This is BA's offense with all of Tom's plays that are kind of like this microcosm of what BA and Byron want to do. That's a weird dynamic. So now you're talking about a guy that's done it for 20 years, doing it a different way, because you can't expect everybody else to learn Tom's offense in a COVID year. Tom's the smartest guy on the field, right? So now there's just like this collaboration going on. It's been going on all year, and they've had their highs and they've had their lows. It's still going to be getting better. But when you go back to, you can't really put it on practice field and OTAs. You're going out and throwing at a high school. That's great, but there's no coverage. There's no concept. There's no coaches there. All that stuff really matters, and all that stuff's still getting figured out. That's why I think the bye week is kind of coming at a perfect time. All the speculation and BS and bad mojo, whatever aside. And I love what Papi said earlier today on Twitter was like self-scout. The problem with that is the Bucs self-scout every week. There's not really a lot of self-scout to do. You can do a little bit more reflection because you have a little bit more time. You're not putting a game plan together this week. But they kind of know. I think it's better to just go, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's let everybody go like play golf, recharge the batteries, do something else, and kind of say, okay, let's come back with some ideas. Let's collaborate and let's run with what now we've had a chance to more, not self-scout, just assess how the last couple of weeks have gone. What worked, what didn't, what do we like, what do we not? And that's Mike and Chris and AB and Gronk and the O-line and Rojo and Tom and the coaching staff. All those guys can have a say. It's pissing me off that people are like, they're forcing Tom to do this. No, they're not. This is the ultimate collaboration. It just takes some time to make that work.
Speaking of Rojo, Jake, I'm sure you saw my tweet yesterday. And before I get my question in, huge shout out to Biggie Smalls in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw that, Stank, Sammer.
I saw it.
Super chat donation. He gave us $20 to spend on wings.
I love it.
So shout out to you, bro. Wing money is always good.
Yes.
Jake, speaking of Rojo, I get that 28 has matured. He's a different person. All the immaturity crap from Jacksonville is gone. But what is the infatuation with 28? And how is it that Rojo only touched the ball twice in the second half? You spoke about the play calling at the 5, which I thought was insane. They designed 2 plays to 28. Give it to fucking Rojo. Like, what is? I'm not trying to be too critical, but God, like the guy's running like he's pissed, and he's running like he's pissed because it looks like they keep taking him off the field. Why? He's running like a madman.
He has been. He's been phenomenal. The problem is when you go back and you break down the all 22 that we're talking about. Tom's first pick, Rojo missed Tyrann Mathieu on a blitz. Something they worked on all week that he's going to set you up outside, jump inside, and he got in Tom's face. That's why Fournette's in there. It's not that he's a better ball carrier. It's that he's maybe marginally a better receiver. He's a much better pass blocker. When we go shotgun in that package, that has become Fournette. Now, he made a great catch for a touchdown, but how many has he dropped in weeks before that? How many blitz pickups has he picked? That's the next level of him becoming a superstar, because the running talent is absolutely there. It's when game flow takes you out of that is when Fournette's playing. And I see the same thing you see. Yep. I see a 33-yard run, and you're like, damn, and a 37-yard touchdown, damn, and the explosive. But when you're watching it live, nobody's watching the running back pick up the blitz. You're watching Tom and the ball come out of Tom's hands, flying to Mike, and you don't watch the replay and go, what just happened? Right? So when you talk to people later, you watch the film, and you realize he still struggles in that area some, and Fournette is a really good pass blocker. That is a gigantic thing. Like, Shady will stick his face in there, but he ain't 245. Right? It's not the same thing. And he's lost a step big time. He's explosive, but it ain't the Shady of old. Like, I see all the tweets. We have Shady. Why we sign him? Because you have a veteran presence in a room that needs maturity. Rojo can learn a ton from that. And if you need him, you can count on him. But when he's played, he hasn't been that good. He's lost a step. And Fournette's not great out of the back of it, catching. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge fan of what he does when he catches it. But keeping Tom clean is still the most important thing we can do. That's why the entire season comes down to how the offensive line plays, and they've been phenomenal.
Should have kept Dare.
But Jay, you bring up that he's a better blitz pickup guy and shotgun and keeps Tom Brady clean. I get all that, but when they got inside the 10-yard line, they called two design.
I got no answer for that, bro. I got no answer.
Like it just feels odd that they would call 2 design plays to the lesser running back to run the ball, and then the screen pass, which I didn't know. People are like, oh, Gronk got open. Gronk was open after the throw, and it was a weird angle. There's no way he was going to make that throw unless he pumps the freaking ball to Fournette. But it just feels odd that you take out a playmaker, a weapon, and then call 2 design plays to a lesser weapon. Yeah, he's good at pass, but they ran the ball. Why not just give him the ball again?
I get it. Jake doesn't have an answer.
They were in shotgun, so that's why Fournette was in there.
To your take, Sammer, and no, Jake has no answer for it, or no answer to it, not for it. Sammer, what was more puzzling to me was why design it to 28 when you have Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like, why are we going to running back? Period. Like,
okay, so to play devil's advocate, if you're the defense, who are you stopping? All those guys you just named. Let's hand it off in the shotgun because we came out in the shotgun. We're not under center. Doesn't look like we're going to hand it off to Rojo. I'm going to try to sneak one out of the gun. I'm going to give it to Fournette, and if we pop a hole right there, he walks in. Because the linebackers and everybody else are scattering to cover all those guys you talked about, right? I don't know that's why they did it. By the way, we jumped on the show. We didn't have the disclaimer that I don't work for the Bucs. I'm a fan like you guys. I just have a lot more access than everybody else, and I've been doing this a long, long time. I just happen to have 22 uncles that are on the staff, right? But these are my takes. I'm not answering for my dad. I'm not my parents' mouthpiece. These are my takes, hanging out with my boys, doing the loose cannons because I love you guys. I love the show. We should have had the disclaimer at the beginning, all right? So before anybody wants to blow me up for the whys. I'm not answering for them. I'm giving you my take. But to play devil's advocate there, I said the same thing you said when the play happened. But now that you mention it again, I go, okay, well, flip it. I don't hate it. I hate 2 in a row, right? Like, you didn't take a shot into the end zone with all those weapons. But the first one, I don't mind you running off first down out of shotgun right there. By the way, it's Leonard Fournette. Like, he hadn't been phenomenal, but you go back to Carolina, go back in his career as a 7th overall pick for a reason. He's a talented guy. We popped that hole. He's getting in. But I got no answer for that. But why he hasn't played consistently enough in most games is for those kind of reasons, right? So the game flow and going shotgun, going 2 minutes, getting down big is going to dictate how much Rojo plays. We go back to Carolina when he's getting 20 touches, 25 touches. We threw for 350, 360, and we ran for 200. That's what we're capable of. Mm-hmm. But the game flow kind of has to dictate that that's how it's going to go.
Jake, I have a philosophy question for you. It's everybody knows your father's offense is more of a downfield type offense, and Brady came from a more short crossing type game, and it looks like the attempt right now is to marry the two. But we don't have the same type of weapons that they had in New England. I would say that we have big physical receivers, but separation I wouldn't say is our strength. AB obviously can separate. Scotty can separate, but they're not being utilized like they did New England. And I'm wondering if it's some of the issue is that it's just taking our guys time to learn these new plays that are coming in, that Brady wants.
That is a complete misconception that they're new plays. Half of Tom's plays were already in the playbook.
Okay.
It's just how he sees them, right? Are you reading it from inside out? You're reading it from outside in. What does this coaching staff want you to look at first? All right. Mm-hmm. You guys all play in high school, I'm assuming?
I coached.
Right. Yeah. Anybody play offense?
No. Defense.
Okay. So when you've seen an offensive play, right?
Yes,
You have a route tree, you have a blocking concept, you have a 7-step drop, play action, whatever it is. The quarterback's going to have a first option. Okay. By the way, before you ever get to that, I can change the play at the line of scrimmage based off of what I see pre-snap from defense. Okay. Now there's going to be a high, a middle, a low. Just because the first read is a high one doesn't mean you have to throw it there. If you don't like that, go to the middle read, go to the check down, right? Now, if you get pressure in your face, what most quarterbacks are going to do, because I got Mike one-on-one, I knew that from pre-snap, I'm going to throw it up. That counts in the stat sheet and on the highlights as a deep shot. But it's not really a deep shot. It's not a hard play action fake, and we're taking Scotty over the top, and he's behind the safety. That's a play action shot, right? We're taking a deep shot. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch we got damn good receivers, and Tom wants to take advantage of matchups. And part of this is still Tom's maturation process in this offense and this philosophy versus what he did for 20 years and what he used to have in his mind and what he has in his mind now. And there's no preseason. And this is, 4 weeks with AB coming in. And Chris and Mike were injured and back and forth all year. And there wasn't a lot of cohesiveness on the practice field. Like it feels like there's a lot of deep shots. And there probably is technically. But when you're playing that position, you always have the ability not to throw that. You can throw it somewhere else.
I'm more so.
I know Tom is the greatest of all time, and we got to be really careful how I don't want this to sound like any criticism. I'm just saying, from the quarterback position, you don't have to throw it there because it was designed there or called there.
No, I'll say.
I'm more so alluding to it. It just feels like we're out of, especially the first 4 possessions. It feels like we're out of sync. Like the receiver and Tom are on the same page. That's more what I'm getting at. And why is it that we're this far into the season? How is that still occurring this far into the season?
Like I said, there's the lack of practice time with guys that have been injured. I mean, Chris is still practicing with a club until Friday, so he's out there, but you're not throwing it to him, right? He didn't catch it until Friday. Mike hardly practiced for 5 weeks, even though he played every Sunday because he's a freaking warrior. You just added AB, who they're moving around playing different positions.
Right.
All right. Then you got Scotty, who's taking reps for other guys. It's just one of those things that kind of happens. We weren't out of sync because we were 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 2 on those first 4 or 5 possessions. We just didn't connect on the throws. Some of them came out too hot. Some of them came out too high. Some of them had a little pressure in his face. That's always been the MO with Brady and 99% of quarterbacks. What happened in the second half? We got pressure on Pat Mahomes. He looked like the same guy did in the first half, right? So they came out a little quicker than they were. It's easy to say, oh, that's coaching, that's play design, that's scheme, Byron sucks. Dan Orlovsky says we need motion. it's easy to say all that. It's harder to have the cohesiveness of all that stuff without these guys practicing together all the time and getting that continuity that Tom wants. And it's getting better. It just doesn't look like it all the time. Now, my favorite part about this team, we talked about early in the season, guys, when you're struggling, you're getting boat raced the other night, right? Not many teams have the ability to step on the gas and get back in it. You get boat raced the same way against the Chargers. Not only do you come back, you win big. Mm-hmm. You're playing the Raiders. They cut it to 3 in the middle of the third quarter. You win by 25. Like, not many teams have the ability to step on the gas, make that adjustment during the game, and then go, whoa, hot. You watch teams struggle early, they struggle most of the game, 90% of the time. You hardly see teams go, we're just that talented and that good, but that cohesiveness is going to take some freaking time. I know it feels like it's late in the season, but we're only talking no preseason. This is week 12.
Mm-hmm. We didn't preface this by saying this team is still 7-5. This team is 7-5. Did not lose a playoff.
What was your preseason prediction?
You don't want to hear mine. Mine's ridiculous. 14-2 or 15-1.
I said 11-5, 10-6.
But they're still in the driver's seat. They didn't lose a playoff seed yesterday with the loss. Like, it literally nothing hurt us yesterday. We're still 7-5. We go into a bye week. We have 4 very winnable games coming up. A lot of people on Twitter, oh, how can you trust this team to win any? Dude, this team has beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat, with the exception of the Bears game where they had nobody playing wide receiver. So fuck that game. Kind of throw that out the window. 7-5. It sounds like we're bitching a lot here, but we're not. We're just kind of trying to understand some stuff. Now, you mentioned the pre-snap motion.
You guys are, because you've taken Dr. Jake's philosophy of, like, bringing it down. Let's just be a little more rational, which maybe is a bad thing. I mean, the show is loose cannons after all.
No, we're pretty loose.
I get fandom. Trust me. I told you, I get fandom. Nobody's worse than me at a game. I am obnoxious. I probably need some therapy to work on how bad I am during games. We'll watch one together sometime when the world is back to normal. You guys go, oh, I thought Sammer's clap was bad.
I think
Sam,
you'll be.
Before you go there, Jake said you got to be careful. I get you got to be careful. I'm not going to be careful. 12 has not looked good for 3 weeks. He's made some bad
phenomenal in the second half.
throws.
Phenomenal in the second half.
But very erratic.
But
even on the over route to Gronk, he kind of second guessed. He kind of and then let it go. There's times
where he has some very un-Brady like throws, right? Like there's some that make you go, for a guy that's phenomenally accurate. Like, I praise him for his accuracy and the way he always throws a guy open. And if it's a run after the catch ball, it's a perfect spot for that guy to run after the catch. That hasn't looked as sharp. I think a lot of that is feeling the heat, getting a little that, you're getting some stunts, you're getting some blitzes, you're getting some different coverages, and it comes out a little faster than you want. You put a little more mustard on it than you wanted to put on it. There's been some of that, but he was phenomenal in the second half of the night after that kind of slow start. But he hasn't been like what he was. By the way, you guys tell me what you think, because I kind of came up with this theory, and I'm like, we're talking on our show the other night. I'm like, the last 3 or 4 teams we played, I'd say the Chiefs played an A first half and probably a B plus second half. We'll give them an A- for the game, right? I think the Rams played an A. If we're not matching that against really good teams and we're losing by 3, I'd say we played a C game against the Rams. And we probably played a C first half and an A- second half, maybe a B second half. And we lose to the best team in football by 3. The last 3 or 4 games, we played teams that have played out of their minds. Did you watch the Rams yesterday? That wasn't the same Jared Goff that played us Monday night. And people go, well, that's coaching. It's all scheme. No, a lot of it's execution, and they had a good game plan, and Jared played better. Like, when do we put the emphasis on JPP played out of his mind on Sunday? Shaq ain't leading the league in sacks right now.
Well, I think that's the most.
Which one looks bad? I love Shaq. Don't get me wrong. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just like, it's easy to start saying, oh, it's all scheme. They need to change the coverages. No, you get a pass rush, and that damn coverage you just called looks phenomenal. It ain't the same pass rush we had last year. It ain't the same pass rush we've had at times this year.
They miss
those
Vita.
2 guys got to get there by themselves. That's their job. That's why they're making $15 million a year. Shaq's not getting there like he was last year. That has an entirely different outcome of those plays on that defense. And it does. Like, there's no way to argue that.
They miss Vita.
How much are we missing Vita Vea collapsing the pocket from the injury? I mean,
shout out to
Vita's a monster. Vita was going to the Pro Bowl. It's like I told you guys when it happened.
Yeah, and yesterday I noticed
you cannot replace that.
I noticed yesterday that they also flipped Shaq back over to where he played most of last year. Got a majority of his sacks last year. I think it was 12 out of the 19.5 off the other side. Which this year we haven't really seen him that often over there. I don't know if that's because
they move
last
all
year.
The time.
He played a lot more over there yesterday than I've seen him recently.
He did.
Which, that ended up being a sack fumble, a huge play, because we're talking about this game and those weird fluky interceptions that happened. We were in scoring position. Like, this game could have been.
They were both inside the 25.
This game could have been very similar to that Chargers game, and you could see that we had made a change on defense, and whether it was turning it up, whether it was executing, whether it was simply getting more in his face, and whatever was happening on the back end didn't matter. We were getting back in that game, which I'm gonna be honest, I was fucking pissed off in that first half. But that second half,
you and me both.
I looked at it and I said, okay, this team.
I saw you guys say that like I was sitting there sipping Papi lattes with my finger up in the air, dude. Like I was. Trust me when I tell you I'm obnoxious at games.
But the second half told me that this team has balls. Like I gained a little bit more respect for the fact that this team does have pride in what they're putting out on the field. This team, I've been saying it for maybe 3 weeks now. This team really needs a bye week from the top down. The fucking fans need a bye week. Like. Fucking
week
deep
13
breath.
is a long time.
Yeah, it's a very long time.
Just keep grinding.
By the way, hi really Paige. Paige D'Amicos in the chat. Hello, Paige.
Chat.
Queen Paige.
You guys said Vita Vea. I keep hearing, and again, with a grain of salt, the national pundits.
If we go deep enough into the playoffs?
They figure. Well, no, not. Yeah, hopefully, yes, he'll be back.
Yeah. Come on, hey, break some good news. If they go deep enough in the playoffs, Jake.
Yeah.
Paige, light the candle.
Via coming back.
Page's Greek grandmother. Yeah, man.
I like that. But some of these national pundits keep saying they've figured out Bowles, blitz scheme and blah blah blah. I think it's more.
How long's
we're
Todd been
missing
doing
Vita Vea. Like Vita Vea controls so much and opens up so much up the middle that's what allows Devin White to fucking have a clear shot in the A gap. And that's not.
How many interceptions did JPP have in the last 3 games?
2.
Should have had 3.
Could have had 3. Had 2.
Yeah.
That's 2.
Oh, okay. So that's telling you that they figured out Todd Bowles' blitz game? Because I'm pretty sure you're not throwing it to the defensive end if you know he's going to be there. When you have linebackers that blitz as well as Devin and Levante, it's so hard not to try to get almost overly exotic sometimes because they're so good on a little X dog or just coming up to A gaps. And then you're seeing them drop those guys. Or you're seeing JPP line up at middle linebacker and blitz and Devin's out here and he dropped. Like, save all that, they figured Todd. We've had some teams that have played really well against us that had really good game plans that executed well. And we have guys that are not getting home when the blitz is called. Devin had 3 sacks against the Raiders. I don't know if he's got one since.
Yeah, and when
he's very capable of that, but guys got to make plays sooner or later. Look, and don't get me wrong. I've been in this business for a long time. My dad's been a coach my entire life. I get that it starts and ends with the head coach and the coaching staff. Players make plays. It's not any different than the NBA or anything else. Coaches coach, players play. You can only scheme up so much before guys got to go make plays.
Had that conversation with Stank. What was it, last week, right, Stank? That people can say and feel, everybody in the chat, you can feel however you want to feel about this offense. And I want shorter routes, and I want more crossers, and I want this, and I want that. Stuff's been open. Shit has been open. Whether it's getting hit or not is a different story. But there have been plays to be made.
By the way, everything you just named is in every single route concept that I talked about earlier. There's a short crosser, there's an intermediate, there's a shot, and there's a check down on damn near every pass we call.
Look, Mike,
whether the offensive line whether we pass block well enough to get through all 4 progressions, whether Tom wants to or not, it depends on how they play. Coaching matters. Don't get me wrong. It matters immensely. But these guys spend 100 hours plus a week putting in the game plan, calling the game plan, knowing what you're guessing on what defense you're going to get in that situation by all the film work that you've put in. But the players got to go execute, right? Like it comes down to all those concepts that you're talking about are in these plays.
Well, why is it, Jake? And I'm going to ask you my tweet question. Why is it that everything that we do comes so tough? It's always Mike making a spectacular catch. Obviously, the touchdown catch, he had some space on, but everything we do looks like it just takes an act of Congress. And then you see the Chiefs out there, and I get it, I mean, they're the cream of the crop. They're at the top, but everything they do just looks like it comes so easy, and their plays look like they're designed to scheme guys open, and you got guys running wide open. We don't seem to get that. We don't seem to have our guys running wide open. There's always a corner on top of us. There's always a linebacker. It's always Godwin beasting between a corner and a safety to come down with the ball. Is some of that the lack of scheming guys open or calling the right plays? Like, what is it? Why is it always a struggle? Or it feels that way?
One, I would say you watch this team more than any other team, right? So I would ask you, who was wide open running scot-free in the second half for the Chiefs?
They had that one pass that
nobody. They had 7
missed.
points and they had 100 yards of offense.
No, he had an open wide receiver, number 14. I can't remember his name.
Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, he dropped it. Yeah.
He dropped it. You're exactly right. We busted the coverage on that. He threw it behind Mecole Hardman. He dropped the touchdown, 17. Yes. That's the only one you saw. And they schemed that up. It looked great. But we busted the coverage. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns without anybody even close to him. Now, this is not going to be a popular take. If we throw the ball to the wrong guy, but we make the play, it's going to look like it was a tough play. So to your point where Chris Godwin's working his way through a zone in the middle between a linebacker and a safety, or a corner and a linebacker, and you know he's going to catch it because his catch radius is insane even with a freaking club on his fingers, I'm going to force it in there some. 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, whatever it is, it's going to look like a bang-bang tight play. There's going to happen. And you watch the Bucs more than any other team, so that's going to feel like that's a lot. Because if I threw it to the wrong guy, and if we go back and watch the tape, they go, well, you're supposed to throw it to Scotty. He's wide open. That was your first read. But I liked pre-snap what I saw with Chris, and I trust Chris. I'm going to throw it there. That happens all the time. That's not Tom Brady mistaking the coverage or anything else. It's not a hot take. But if you technically throw it to the wrong guy of where the play was called, it's going to look like a bang-bang play where everything's a struggle. And I get what you're saying, but I think some of that is you watch this team that much, and when you see the easy ones, you take that for granted. And you're going to sit there and harp on the ones that you see as a bang-bang, super tight play. When I brought up to you before, Mike Evans 2 touchdowns, nobody's within 5 yards. The first one, he runs right past the corner and safety didn't get there. That's as open in the NFL as you're going to get. Mm-hmm. That's scheming, that's execution, that's everything. The second one, he just blows the doors off both those guys. Nobody gets there, and he catches one on an out route in the end zone. You can't be more open than that. That's the combination of both. I think there's a combination of things, and some of this is still the comfortability for Tom in this offense, reading it a different way than he's read it in the past, and trusting these really good receivers that I know if I throw it in a tight window, because I'm that accurate and I have faith in myself. I go back to what I told you guys before. What is the thing Todd Bowles said to me, said in the preseason in the media that everybody laughed at? Tom Brady throws great incompletions.
He does. He puts it in a place where AB is going to catch it off his shoe top, or Chris is going to catch it a little bit behind him, but we're going to make the play. He trusts his guys to do that because they're so good. He doesn't throw it in the wrong place very often. He doesn't throw it a really bad pass very often. To Papi's point a little while ago, he has a little bit in the last couple games. It's gotten a little wild. Reel all that back in. We have 4 games to get right. You got 4 get-right defenses, right, before you make a run in the playoffs. I expect them to finish extremely strong and this offense to look really good. Jake, it's no secret. If you follow me on Twitter, if you sit next to me at a game, I am not a fan of Byron Leftwich. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't.
You watch ESPN too much.
No, I actually don't. I actually do not watch ESPN. I make it a point not to watch ESPN because I'm not interested in the nonsense and the clickbait, bold headline to get somebody to read and watch. With that being said, in terms of Byron, you've been there with your dad. Your dad's called plays for the majority of his career as a head coach. Obviously, when he was an offensive coordinator, he's called it with Hall of Fame guys. He's called it with Hall of Fame coaches above him even. I'm not a fan of Byron because I feel like there's no ebb and flow. He doesn't understand the flow, or he's not calling it yet. He's also a little bit inexperienced, so I get some of that. What is the difference between how Byron calls a play versus how your dad's called a play? Again, this is me asking you your opinion. Obviously, you don't know what the game plan is week in and week out and all that stuff, but you've been around it to know that there are little differences. My biggest problem with Byron has been I don't even have the best play caller on the team calling the plays for this team, which has kind of been what I've been harping on since day one.
By the way, BA might not be that guy either. Tom Moore's still on the staff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point,
We're forgetting one of the greatest offensive coordinators that's ever laced up white tennis shoes to coach on Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, I would ask why, but I get your point with the ebb and flow, right? Part of this is Byron was a very good quarterback. He was a first-round pick that played the game a certain way. He probably wants to call that more in his image. And he played for BA, and then he tutored under that, right? So he knows that offense. And that's more of how he played. That's not how Tom plays. It's never been Tom's game. It could not be polar opposite quarterbacks, right? I mean, Byron didn't play that long ago. Byron's younger than Tom. I think part of that this year compared to last year, when I don't think you probably didn't feel exactly the same way this year as you felt last year, I'm guessing. I didn't. I kind of get what you're saying. Like, I didn't feel the same. I think part of this is like trying to figure out from Tom's point of view, of Byron playing quarterback from his eyes, what he wants and what he wants to see in the confines of what they're trying to do. I think they're still trying to work that out. I think part of this also has been game flow when you want to give it to Rojo 25 times, but we're down by 15, or we got to go 2 minutes into the half and we're going shotgun, and that's Rojo that's Fournette, because Rojo still is struggling here and there with blitz pickup stuff. So part of it's been game flow. Part of it, I get what you're saying. And part of it, I think it's still trying to figure out from his eyes and the way he wants to call a game, the way he sees the game, compared to how Tom does in that communication during the week. I think they're still trying to figure all that out. How it's different from my dad, I don't know. I think it's probably pretty similar. I just think there's a thing that you get after you've done it for a while, a gut feeling that you're going to go that makes some of these guys elite. Like I said, I mean, my dad, I would put his record up against anybody. I still don't think he's the best play caller that we have on the staff.
But your dad he's a savant. The experience, that was to Sammer's point. That was what confused me a couple. What was it? The Rams game, I think it was, right? Yeah, it was the Rams game, where there was a drive that was all focused on Mike Evans, and then the next drive was all focused on Godwin, and then the next drive was all focused on AB. And I'm like, it feels forced. Like, what? And I get it, right? You said that there's a trigger man behind the trigger that's actually making those decisions, and there's deep, middle, and a short. So I don't know.
I get this. I feel the same thing.
It's just confusing. It's like, what's going on? Like just throw it to the open guy. We don't have to force it.
Yeah, I don't go back and watch the all-22. I'll talk to my dad after the game more for him to just get it out, and he goes and has a crown, and he's good. He's moving on to whatever's next. And I'll ask a couple questions because I'm the same way. I see the same thing you guys see when we watch it live. He said I got a different lens, but it's the same thing. So I've felt that as well. I'd have to lean on Tom for that. I don't know, other than, okay, we went to Mike, and they're going to start rolling coverage that way, which means they're going to leave Chris in the slot open. I'm going to take advantage of that. And they're going to maybe try to make an adjustment back, and then we still got AB, or maybe we're trying to get them all involved. I guess part of like having too many weapons could be like we got a bunch of mouths to feed and we're trying to keep everybody happy. I don't know that that's part of it. It's complete speculation, but I get your point. I wish I had a better answer for you than why it feels choppy like that sometimes.
And somebody in the chat's talking shit about the O-line. Give me a fucking break. Like, this O-line's played pretty damn fucking good this year. And by the way, I tweeted out last night, Ali Marpet, it's okay, Donovan, I'll block both. An incredible fucking block by him. Literally two grown-ass men, one hand on each.
Bench press.
Stupid.
Two defensive line.
But I have to apologize to Donovan. I know it's hot take. People don't fucking like him, but I have to apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't know until your dad came out in the press conference. He showed up to the stadium in a boot. Now, you may not like him. You may not like him. You may think he's trash. Move on next year. But goddamn, you show up in a boot, and hey, I may be able to give you a half coach. I don't know. And he played the whole fucking game. I can't hate on that. I can't.
I'm gonna do something I said I wasn't gonna do on this show. People need to calm the fuck down when it comes to Donovan Smith. Dude sprained his ankle on the first play of the game, and then the other part of his ankle on the last play of the game last week. Oof. Didn't practice all week. Showed up to the stadium in a boot and played against the freaking Chiefs.
With D Ford.
If nothing else, give him for credit for having, you might like his technique, like I see on freaking Twitter all the time. Like, you know what the hell you're talking about. You freaking 5'10", 180 white dude, never played left tackle, I promise you. Get off it with the technique because you watch some stupid-ass documentary on how to block whatever. Say what you want. He's a freaking warrior. He made some mistakes early. He's cleaned up the penalties, and he's playing his ass off. Ali Marpet, God rest him. Dude, you missed 3 games for a concussion. You come back and you're bench pressing defensive lineman. Played his ass off. Our boy Q, career just ended.
Yeah, man.
Was phenomenal when we moved Jensen out and took his place. I mean, last time I checked, Aaron Donald didn't record a statistic.
A stat.
Yeah.
Not a fact. Not a freaking stat.
He made me look really bad because I was like, our backup offensive linemen, when they come in, they always suck. And then Q comes in and
this
just
ain't
plays.
1996 in the freaking in the creamsicles, bro. It's a different team. The backup linemen, like they're stacked everywhere. But these guys have played really well.
And Tristan Wirfs should win Rookie of the Year. Period.
Should.
Period.
Damn sure he won't because Herbert's been spectacular. Burrow was spectacular. Justin Jefferson's been amazing. Claypool's been phenomenal. At his position, with the importance of blocking for Tom Brady, dude has been, I don't know what else you could possibly ask for a rookie to step in at right tackle and play better than that.
Not
dump
just
trucking dudes.
Who he's faced. Not just how he's played, who he's gone against. Jesus.
All those people that talk.
He's been amazing. But dude, Jensen's been spectacular. We didn't even talk about Kappa. What better offensive lineman compliment could you give a guy by not mentioning his name?
Yeah, nobody ever.
I'm gonna say it because do you guys ever talk about Kappa?
We don't bring him up. We brought him up.
That's the best thing you can do. That means he's doing his damn job, right?
Yes.
I forgot he even played for this team until you mentioned it.
By the way, playing left tackle is one of the hardest positions in the world. That's also the microcosm of what you're going to see. You see those tackles all the time. And these guys have been phenomenal, man. I don't know what else you could ask for.
Was the ankle to Mike late in the game? Was that the same one?
I don't know what it was. We came back and caught a freaking touchdown pass right after that.
I know. Stanks
superlatives to talk about Mike stuff. Man.
No,
it was an ankle.
He's a fucking warrior. Stank's wife looked at me and she's like, "He's out of the game." I'm like, "I don't know. Mike will come back."
I thought he was.
She's like, "No. He's
back in and catches a touchdown."
I'm like, I've seen this motherfucker come back from he's not human, and he came back and caught a touchdown. I'm like, goddamn, I told you, dude.
It was an ankle on the play. He reached down, he was writhing in pain, and it was he hurt him both this year. I don't remember if it was the right or the left earlier, but he came back in and was spectacular. Thank God it's a bye week because he's hurting today.
Jake, you mentioned the bye week a few times. With what we saw in the second half of that offense, and it seemed more comfortable for everybody involved. It seemed like it had more Tom Brady plays. I know they're already in the playbook. How do you think? No, people call them Tom Brady plays, but they've already they've always been there. Yeah,
trust me, I know.
And sometimes we've seen them open and they're just not hit. But going into the bye week and coming out of the bye week, what do you think this team is going to focus on offensively? What should they focus on offensively to kind of get this rolling and get more of a groove and really hit their stride going into the playoffs? Because it doesn't matter if you're hot right now. You just have to be hot going in, and matchups matter. We've seen a Green Bay Packers team as a wild card win the Super Bowl. We've seen a New York Giants team that snuck into a wild card.
The Giants did it, yeah.
They beat the Patriots, right? They shouldn't even been in the playoffs.
Hold on 1 second, Sammer. We've seen it every fucking year with the Patriots for the last 5 years, 6 years. Every year, people forget about that. Every year, there's this lull in the season where they're like, oh, Brady's shot, the franchise is over, and then you look up in fucking February and then the Super Bowl, and you're like, what the fuck just? So, yeah, everybody breathe.
So there's a lot of information there for that question. I'll break it down a couple of different ways. One, I think that overall, they need to all get away. We all need to remember that as crazy as COVID is for us, this shit is bananas for these guys getting tested every single day. Their families can't go anywhere. They're freaking locked in the house. When they come home, they got them up their ass, whatever else they're dealing with. They're wearing masks in meetings. They need to get a freaking break for 4 or 5 days and not do this that they've been doing every day since training camp started. That's first and foremost. When they come back, they're going to work on the same things they've been working on, but they need to play more complementary football. The defense get a turnover, offense score a touchdown. Offense don't turn it over, put the defense right back out there. Defense play a lot of plays the last 2 weeks. A lot better in the second half because offense got going, but that first half, and against the Rams, they played a lot of plays. And they're playing good, but you can't be out there that much. You got to play complementary football, right? I think they keep working on the exact same things you've been working on, but take advantage of the fact that you're better than the teams you're about to play. You're going to be healthier. That's going to be phenomenal. I mean, nobody's healthy this time of year. So get to one of the things about a good bye week 13, you're going to rest up for that last month. And then you go back to what you were talking about. My dad was on that staff in 2005 with the Steelers, the first team to ever do it. They go 10-6. They win the last game to get in. They win 3 road games, and they beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Then the Packers do it. They did it to the Steelers in 2010. Exactly the same way. They get in 10-6, wild card. They get hot. They go, and then the Giants did it to the Patriots. And this year, more than ever, there ain't no fans in the stands. All you got to do is go deal with a climate somewhere, whether that's Philly, Green Bay, Seattle, back in New Orleans, L.A., New York, Washington, wherever it is. They got to go put this to the test. But I would say the only game they've lost is the second one to the Saints. They got out-coached, they got outplayed, they got out everything. The game plans were better. It was one of those nights, right? Other than that, they beat themselves, even though they're not against the Chiefs. We're just talking about how the game could be completely different, the outcome. I think they need to go execute and play complementary football and get hot those last 4 games. And you win 3 out of the 4 you're in. You win 2 out of 3, you're probably in 9-7. They need to go 11-5 and get hot. And then if that's the case, and Tom and this cohesiveness of his offense and that comfortability really starts clicking, watch the hell out. Who knows? I mean, I've never seen a year more wide open when, like, who's the dominant team in the NFC?
Well, I mean, that's why we can harp on play calling, all this shit, and you can go back to the Saints game. Execution does matter. And at the beginning of that game, we dropped the interception. Those types of plays, and in yesterday's game, we stopped them from scoring on the first drive, and I thought the defense did well initially, but you're not going to be able to hold the Chiefs down that long. You continue to give them opportunities, they're eventually going to score on us, and that's exactly what they did. So I mean, I feel like this bye week, like you said, is going to be enormous for this team, and hopefully they come back and just put their foot on these shitty teams, man, right on their throats.
Jake, are you like me, man? Do you want to see this fucking Saints team one more time? Because I'm fucking hungry for that Saints team.
I'm not scared of them for sure.
I want them one more time.
I don't really care. Like, get us in the dance and let's dance. I don't give a shit if it's the Saints, the Seahawks, who it is. Like, if we get this thing rolling, especially if we win 4 straight, okay. You beat us. But that's only happened once so far when we haven't played. If we play an A game, I don't know who's beating us. We just got to get to where we can do it. We got another month and a bye week here. I think getting away, you guys, it's so hard to talk about, like when you get to November, December, the monotony. And I love that you said this team has balls, because fans forget how much these guys care. Not that they don't want to step on the opponent's throat. They're grown-ass professional athletes, too. They don't want that to happen, right? It's not that easy. Watch Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee show every Tuesday talking about how hard it is to win the NFL. Getting away for 4, 5, 6 days is going to be – it just gives you – like you go on vacation, right? You've been grinding. You freaking go to the beach for 5 days. You guys live at the beach, so it's not really quite the same. You go skiing for 5 days, whatever. You come back and go, shit, I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah, you're
now, take that, because we love football more than any of us love work. I promise you, I love playing football more than I love working. That going back after 4 or 5 days away from it is a renewed energy, a renewed vigor that I think they're going to take advantage of. I mean, I haven't lost anywhere near. I haven't lost any faith in this team, but it's damn near not as much as I see on my Twitter mentions and everything else going on with Tony Romo and Orlovsky and Ninkovich and whoever else has something to say.
I had to mention.
I do think all that noise eventually becomes a rallying cry.
Does 12 get away, or is he a psycho and he's going to be practicing? He's going to have AB in the backyard and they're going to be running routes.
He's a psycho.
Yeah,
he's a psycho, but he's going to go play golf and chill with his family and drink some freaking avocado ice cream and whatever else he's got going on. I mean, Tom's a different bird when it comes to. He's going to be ready.
Avocado shots.
I can promise you that.
I see where you're coming from.
It wouldn't surprise me if him and BA are on a freaking golf course this week. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, they're going to go get away and do something else. Like, you have to.
I had to mention
before
that
I get blown up by fans. Like, they're not practicing. No, everybody go take a couple of days off. That's why it's called an off week. That's why the Steelers continue to get screwed. By the way.
Yeah.
This is 3 weeks now. That we're supposed to have a bye week and they practice. Okay, we don't play, so you get a couple of days off. But it ain't the same thing. Like, they're getting the short end of this COVID stick this year, big time.
I think the Bucs are supposed to get 6 days off this week, but I had to mention that the Bucs had balls because we've been here when teams are like 1-12, 1-11, and when it gets tough, they legitimately don't have balls. They just hang it up. They check out. They don't care.
I played on 2, 4, and 12 teams, bro. I know what it looks like in November when you ain't making the playoffs and guys are playing for a check and that's it.
Yeah. These guys
I get it. Trust me. That ain't the case.
You're right, though, Jake. It's the human element to it because, I mean, we can all relate, right? We're all grown men. We all have jobs. When I get away, man, I can't wait to get back to cutting hair. I'm actually excited about it. It gets monotonous. And like you said, it's even worse this year with all the protocols and the stress and don't get near this and the mask and the bullshit. No fans. It's a lot. I can see how them, just a breath of fresh air and coming back and just big dick energy and just fucking slap the shit out of everybody. 4 in a row.
It's just
throw one. I'm glad you said
feel fucking better.
I'm glad you said stress though. Like we all got families. Think about how hard it is to like tell your wife, honey, you can't go anywhere for 4 months. I don't want to come home after being at the office all day and deal with that for months on end. The kids can't go anywhere and they're like, they're getting COVID tested. Like, the amount of stress that adds, and every team's dealing with that. I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm just trying to tell people like what's going on with these guys across the league. This is a weird year. I think it's one of the reasons you see no dominant team, and you see the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows that you see in an NFL season, where you've seen really good teams lay eggs a couple times. and that nobody's been completely dominant. And that's why I love the fact that they can get hot and figure some of this stuff out. And why I love this bye week being late, as hard as it was to get here, and it feels like we're crawling to get there. I think it's the perfect time to get out of it and get hot and get in December. Let's see where the chips lie when we get to January.
People lose sight of the fact that of all the teams that got new quarterbacks in the offseason, there's only 2 of them that actually have winning records. The Bucs, and I believe it's the Colts. And every other team that's got a new quarterback is basically struggling. And we've struggled too, but there's just so much talent on offense that we've kind of just, like you said, we're losing games playing our C game and just barely losing them. So I don't even know if we've even played an A+ game yet as a whole team.
We haven't. I can't remember a game where we just had our foot on the gas the entire time.
Green Bay. Yeah.
No, I mean, shit, Aaron Rodgers does that little fucking stupid celebration in the end zone, and we're like, oh, here we go. And then thankfully we got a hold of that. Carlton
Last time I checked, it was 10-0. It was 38 unanswered. So I'd say that's boat racing somebody, especially when they were the top team in the NFL in the power ranking that week.
No, yeah, I think
the Raiders are a playoff team. You win by 25, but you were within
just saying
3 in the third quarter.
From the very start to the very
from a complete game they both.
Let me ask you this. From a fan point of view, does that make you nervous and scared, or does it make you excited?
No, it gives me confidence. It's actually giving me confidence. It's giving me confidence.
Because, I mean, how many teams can say they haven't won by 25 or 28 against the Packers and the Raiders? And just came off 46-23 in the division on the road at Carolina, who's not great, but they've had their moments. That was their starting quarterback before he got hurt. He got hurt in that game, right? Like, there's a bunch of teams that can't say we've won by 20-something, boat racing people in the second half. And you're telling me we haven't played our complete game yet. Right. That makes me go, shit, man. If things go good in December, and we're continually getting better going into January,
that's
we
my
might
point.
Be better in the second round of the playoffs than we are now.
I think that's why I'm so fucking frustrated, because we are capable of those types of performances, and then to go see them struggle like they do, it's disappointing.
But you have to understand that it still does build confidence in the fact that we're not playing our best game, but we're still hanging. Like, if we really do suck, why did we even get back in that Chiefs game? Plenty of teams have just laid down, right?
Nobody here said we suck, bro. Maybe
I'm just saying, like, I kind of get what Jake is saying, and like, we haven't played a complete game, start to finish, but we beat I thought the Packers and the Raiders game were our 2 best games, and you could even put that Panthers game in there too. But we have a decent schedule coming up. We have a report. We have one of our guys, Smitty, in ATL, that says that word on the street is that the Falcon, they want you to coach the Falcons, apparently. Word on the street is that
want me to coach the Falcons?
They want you to be the head coach of the Falcons.
I won't be on the short list, the medium list, or the long list. Although I do love me some Arthur Blank, man. That is one classy dude and a phenomenal organization.
Just get me some gift cards to Home Depot, bro.
I shop at Lowe's.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding.
I go to Home Depot.
I go to both. Whatever one's closer, I go. I don't discriminate when it comes to my hardware store because I love Arthur Blank. I love the man. He's a classy dude and a damn good owner.
Everybody sleeps on Ace Hardware?
I was going to say, everybody sleeps on Ace Hardware. It's the best one. Sorry.
Ace is the place for me, brother. There's one right around the corner from the crib. I'm there all the time.
It's so small. I can't walk around in an Ace. I can walk around in an Ace for like 10 minutes, and I've seen the entire store. Home Depot?
I love it because, man, there's that one little old dude that knows, like, everything. Nut and bolt and the length and everything you need. And you need, like, a washer for a hose. And they, like, come this way, young man. Hell yeah, I'm coming that way, man. It's awesome.
Yep. Sebastian, he knows every nut and bolt ever created. Just Sebastian, the Ace Hardware man that works at every Ace Hardware.
They all have a dude like that. I love all of them.
Yep. Jake, thanks for hanging out, man.
I will. Hang on. Before we get done, I do want to say, like, this Vikings team, if they win this weekend against Jacksonville, they won 5 out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
It ain't the easiest game. Like, we should put their defense has not been very good. We should win the game. We're better, but they're playing really well. Falcons team's now 4-7. That's a divisional game. So you go back to, like, that's why I say we played the Panthers. 46-23 is an ass whooping on the road in the division. I don't care how good that team is, right? That's what's capable. Now, Detroit, that's another story. That should be a boat racing. But if Galladay's back, and Marvin Jones is playing, and Amendola's playing, and Swift is back, and Matthew Stafford doesn't have a freaking cast on his thumb, that's a dangerous-ass offense. That's somebody you might have to outscore. So I just want to caution people, this is still the NFL. And winning on Sundays is the only thing that matters. We all want to win by 30, Stank. We all want to play a complete game. I just want to win W's, and I'd eat it, but I don't want to get fined $500,000 and lose a draft pick.
But here's my thing with those my rebuttal to what you just said, Jake. If we play our game,
doesn't matter.
we didn't mention the whole, what's been going on with the defense with this soft zone stuff and the confusion stuff. Even Paige was like, I don't know what's going. I don't have an answer for it. I don't have a problem with yesterday's game. Me and Stank talked about it. As far as the defensively, they were perfect fucking throws. We were in position to make a play, and we didn't make a play. We can't come out against Minnesota. It's fucking Kirk Cousins. He can play, but it's not Patrick Mahomes. Don't get turtled up now and go back into the soft zone bullshit. Pressure the fuck out of it. Play man and fucking do what we do.
I'm glad you brought it up. I do want to speculate on it for a minute. It's complete speculation. But I go back to when I was talking about complementary football. This defense can be so good that if they play a little bit of a soft zone and they bend but don't break and hold teams to field goals in the red zone, which they haven't been great at, but they're okay at that. They think this offense is they hold teams to 20, we're going to win that game. Now, that's not really what this defense is built on, but that's kind of what I've seen over the last month is like, okay, let's bend but don't break. Let's not give up the big play we did the other night, not in the second half. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's completely speculation, but I want to see what you're talking about. And that's blitzing from everywhere, hammer down, hitting the quarterback in the mouth, knocking helmets off, teeth flying, turnovers, selfies in the freaking Jumbotron end zone cam. Like, I want that defense, which we've seen glimpses of here and there. I want to see some defensive domination again. I don't know the difference. I wish I did. Like, I haven't broken it down enough. I haven't talked to Todd, but like, I know what you're saying. I kind of feel the same thing. I don't really have an answer for it other than I'd probably say we're going to win a lot of games if our defense plays like that. That's just not what our defense is and what it's capable of, and what we all want to see from it.
You know what helps us get to that point is playing with a lead. That's what pass rushers
running the ball,
love,
keeping
right?
the other team off the field.
Yeah,
Complementary football.
The defense.
I don't know what movie
the defense
was,
clearly misses Vita Vea, just from the blitzing standpoint of it. You could tell when he went out, this team, whether the blitzes just didn't get home or it just seemed like the pass rush kind of got stale because there just wasn't that push.
Well, just think about
I
it.
love Sue, but
anybody
still,
blocking Vita with one dude?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
They
so
take two. So what does
it
that
affects
do?
everything.
Create the lane. So if you're blitzing Devin or Levante, there's already a lane because Vita's taking two dudes regardless.
Yep.
Now Sue does the same thing, but it's just not the same when those two are next to each other and they're going two guys. There's lanes all over the place. Yeah. Guys are coming scot-free. I mean, there's definitely something to that. So, okay, if that's taken away, we got to rely on the two $15 million outside linebackers to get there. They got to come off the edge. They got to get there.
They earn your money.
They turned it on. They turned it on that second half of that game, even parts of the second quarter.
I agree with you, Jake. And my last thing, as far as you said, snot bubbles, knock some fucking teeth out. I forgot what movie it was, but hey, if you're gonna make a mistake, make a big one. I don't give a fuck, but make it going full speed, man. Not this death by 1,000 fucking cuts drives me fucking crazy. That's not what we do. I don't mind the cheap shit. You're gonna make a mistake, make a big one. I don't give a fuck. Full speed, Devin White downfield, press, and do what the fuck we do. That's it.
I love it.
Jake,
know that I'm 100% on board with that. I was just trying to give you some rationale analysis of why we weren't seeing that.
Jake,
by the way,
before you go, Jake,
Bean being out the other night hurt. Like that, like having guys here and there. People forget, like, if a guy didn't play, the next guy stepping in is a backup for a reason. Russ Cocker played a really good game, but he's not Jamel in man coverage.
I'm sure Dean would have been
long, fast. I mean, he makes a difference.
Dean is the faster. Dean is the faster corner.
Hill. He would have been on Hill. He's the faster corner. He's a 4-3 corner.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's the long arms, getting your hands on a guy at the line of scrimmage. If you're playing man, that's why he's so good in man. And he has the makeup speed if he gets beat. But he's like 6'2", but he's like 6'5" arms. Like that matters.
The predator. Go ahead, Stank. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you owe my wife an apology. She cleaned the house. She put makeup on. She had a dress.
Man, I sent the apology.
She was expecting you, to
Jake,
come to the tailgate. No, I'm
gonna be real with you, Jake. I know Sasha a long time. She's a mellow, really relaxed person all the time. I showed up and she's like, "Get the fuck out of the house. Nobody's allowed in the house. Corona-free party. Everybody outside. Wear your fucking mask." I was like, "Who?"
When I'm not worried about ruining the Bucs season.
No. We're good.
We actually played that scenario out.
We'll watch a Rays game.
No.
We'll watch like a soccer game. We'll do something. We'll watch all 22 from a Bucs game. Like eating some wings. I'm in for any of it.
They got your message.
Yes, I want to break. I want to break down film in the off season with the wings all over my face with Jake. I love it. Yes, that's what I'm signing up for.
Stank read the message and he literally said, he played it out. He's like, "What if he came here and he gave it to his dad, and then his dad gave it to Brady, and then Brady gave it? He's like, forget it. We're good.
Yeah, he got it. What if he got it from me?
He got it from
us.
us.
He gave it to his dad, and then it spread throughout the team, and then we
become Baltimore.
I'm actually glad.
Because out of the 4 of us here, Stank's the one that doesn't shower regularly. It's like one every 9 days.
I've never washed my hands before.
Yeah, so like that would have been the scenario. Would have played out that way. I would have had to pretend I didn't know the person who derailed the entire NFL season. Would have been terrible.
Would have been me.
Jake, thanks for hanging out, man.
Hang on, I got one final PSA.
One more. All right, you're gonna close it out.
I was gonna tweet this, but I really can't. So I'm just gonna say it, and whoever hears it hears it. But you guys got a nice following, so enough people hear it. If you want to tweet at me, and it starts with "Go tell your dad" or "Go tell your daddy," rest assured that I don't read the rest of the tweet. I don't give two shits what you had to say, and I'm damn sure not going to tell my daddy. Okay, so just like whoever's listening, if you're one of those people, rest assured that's not getting in. You want to make a rational comment, have a conversation, and not use Twitter to be some asshole in your mom's basement? Cool. I'm down for all that. But, like, save me the "go tell your daddy" tweets because I ain't reading the rest of it. Like, would you?
No.
Like, there's my PSA to end the show.
I ain't got no daddy.
That would be a great episode.
I ain't got no daddy.
If you had your dad on your show and you were reading him people's tweets, that would actually be a funny segment.
Be phenomenal.
We'll see what happens when he retires. I'm sure we'll have a nice, fun show where he can actually say what he wants to say, which would be must-see TV, I'm sure.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome, dude. Thanks for hanging out, Jake. All of you out there, thank you for subscribing, watching, chatting. We love the support. I hope you can now all breathe a little bit. Yeah, some of you guys are saying some dumb shit in there, but it's all good.
Fucking takes in there.
Yeah, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you can all breathe a little bit now that Jake's kind of mellowed everyone down a bit. The Bucs,
I feel better.
Bucs are 7-5. We're in the driver's seat. When was the last time we could fucking say that about this fucking team? I'll let you guys answer that. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Bucs.